Doesn't matter what's under a hood. The only thing that matters is who's behind the wheel.
Get ready, because Vin Diesel's car collection is about to shift your gear. While most know him as Dom Toretto, living life a quarter mile at a time, few realize that off-screen he's quietly amassed some of the rarest car collections in Hollywood. From a custom Dodge Charger that is pure muscle, to a $3.5 million Lykan Hypersport that defies gravity, these are legends on wheels. Today, we're revealing the 10 rarest cars in Diesel's private garage, including one so exclusive that it's straight out of an action movie. Number 10. 2015 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 2500 Extended Cargo Van. When you think of Vin Diesel, you probably imagine roaring muscle cars and street racing, right? But get this, one of the wildest rides in his collection isn't some souped-up speed demon. It's a 2015 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 2500 Extended Cargo Van. But this isn't just any van. It's a fully customized Rolls-Royce-inspired luxury cruiser, gifted to him by none other than his Fast and Furious co-star and good buddy, Tyrese Gibson.
This is yours. I don't believe it.
This is yours.
Before we continue, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping celebrity car tours. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an update on the world's rarest rides. Tyrese Gibson has a side hustle that's pretty cool, customizing Sprinter vans. This one is his masterpiece, the first he ever built. It's like he thought, what if a Mercedes Sprinter had a baby with a Rolls-Royce, and then just made it happen? From the outside, it keeps the recognizable Sprinter silhouette, but the devil's in the details. He went all out, even down to putting the iconic Spirit of Ecstasy hood ornament on it. But wait until you hear about the interior. It's like stepping into a private jet. 6 plush seats embroidered with Rolls-Royce logos, ambient lighting that sets the mood just right, and 2 big screens to keep the entertainment going. And because comfort is king, Tyrese even upgraded the air conditioning system. There are 6 vents in the back, each with a Mercedes-Benz star on them. That's the kind of attention to detail we're talking about. The story behind this gift is just as touching as the van itself. Apparently, Vin Diesel had always admired Tyrese's custom Sprinter, so Tyrese decided to make his buddy's dream come true. It was a birthday present, albeit a little late. The best part was Diesel was left practically speechless when he first got inside. What did Vin say? Well, after picking his jaw up off the floor, he joked that the only way he could repay Tyrese was to buy him a private jet, a G5 no less. Talk about leveling up.
We good.
I gotta give it a play. What G5 is?
Oh shit, we good. This your G5 right here on wheels, baby.
Number 9. 1993 Mazda RX-7. This beauty was one of the hottest sports cars of the 90s and became iconic thanks to its role in the Fast and the Furious. Yeah, this was one of the cars Vin Diesel's character Dom Toretto tore up the streets in. The RX-7 is legendary among Japanese domestic market fans, and it's easy to see why. This little rocket is powered by a 1.3-liter twin-turbo rotary engine that cranks out 255 horsepower. It's not just fast, it's got style too. The car originally rolled off the assembly line in silver, but for its big screen debut, it was decked out in a fiery red paint job with bold graphics to match its street racing persona. What's even cooler? This wasn't just any movie prop. It was one of 5 RX-7s used in the original Fast and Furious film, and it was rebuilt with a whole new look for Too Fast, Too Furious, where it was driven by Orange Julius, played by Amaury Nolasco. The car's House of Color orange pearl paint job and vibrant yellow graphics make it stand out even today. The 18-inch Roja wheels are pure early 2000s nostalgia. Inside, it's just as wild. Sparco Sprint seats and harness replace the factory seats, and there are LED light wands mounted throughout the cabin. It even has a prop nitrous setup, just like in the movies. There's a fuel cell in the rear cargo area that was functional for filming, but is now just a display piece. It's pretty much stock under the hood, with the original 13B engine, but it's got a few upgrades, like a Megan shock tower bar and a Koyo radiator. Get this, the stunt car only number 33 label is still intact on the intake piping. Sure, it's got a few blemishes here and there, but who cares? This car is a legend, and any true Fast and Furious fan would give anything to take it for a spin. At number 8, we've got an American classic, the 1966 Pontiac Bonneville. With its muscular yacht-like profile, it's no wonder Vin Diesel fell in love with it. This 4th generation Bonneville is a true American beauty, rocking that Coke bottle body style that was all the rage back in the day. It's one of the longest Pontiacs ever made, stretching a massive 222.6 inches. It's like driving a luxury boat on wheels. Under the hood, it's packing serious power. A 6.9-liter V8 that cranks out 376 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque with a 3-speed automatic transmission, giving it that smooth, classic ride quality that takes you back in time. The 1966 Bonneville was more than speed. It was style and luxury. Inside, it was all plush seating and high-end materials with cool features like an AM/FM radio and even air conditioning, a big deal back then. Some of these bad boys even came with optional record players. This car's got history too. The Bonneville name comes from the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, famous for land speed records. Pontiac didn't hold back on the engine options. From the standard V8, this car was all about power. Even today, the 1966 Pontiac Bonneville is cherished by collectors, with well-preserved convertibles fetching upwards of $30,000. Number 7. 1974 Plymouth Barracuda. This car is a true legend in the muscle car world. Although it's not as famous as its earlier siblings from 1970 and 1971, it's still a gem. Why? Well, this was the last year Plymouth rolled out the Barracuda before pulling the plug on the model. Vin Diesel owns this final edition, which makes it a pretty special piece. It packs a 5.9-liter V8 engine with a 4-barrel carburetor, pushing out a respectable 245 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. Sure, it's not as monstrous as the Hemi or the 440 big blocks from earlier years, but don't be fooled, this baby can still run the quarter mile in under 16 seconds. Back in the day, that was nothing to sneeze at. Now, if you're wondering why the 74 model doesn't get the same hype as the earlier versions, it's because Plymouth dropped the big block engines after 1971. That meant no more 426 Hemi or 440 RBs, which were the real heavy hitters. But the 360 V8 that replaced them wasn't too shabby, especially if you knew how to tinker under the hood. But what makes this car even cooler is its rarity. If Vin's 74 Barracuda is a factory 360 manual, then he's got one of only 430 sold that year. That's a pretty exclusive club to be in. The 1974 Barracuda is still relatively affordable, so if you're thinking of getting into the muscle car game without breaking the bank, this could be your ticket. Number 6. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. The 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona isn't just rare, it's legendary. Only 505 units were ever made, and they were built with one purpose: to dominate NASCAR. Vin Diesel's got one in his garage, and oh boy, is it a sight to behold. Vin's Daytona made an appearance in Fast and Furious 6, cementing its status as one of the coolest muscle cars ever. With its racing history, jaw-dropping design, and pop culture fame, this car is an absolute legend. The Daytona was all about speed. Its unmistakable aerodynamic design, complete with that giant rear wing and pointed nose, was crafted for the high banks of NASCAR's super speedways. It was so effective that it became the first car to break the 200-mile-per-hour barrier in a NASCAR race. The Daytona came with either a 440 Magnum V8 pumping out 375 horsepower or the monstrous 426 Hemi producing a whopping 425 horsepower. Just imagine the roar of that engine. If you were lucky enough to get your hands on the Hemi version, you would be in for a wild ride. This car could hit speeds that left competitors in the dust. But this kind of performance came at a price, literally. Back in '69, The Daytona sold for about $3,860. Today, a well-preserved Hemi version can fetch over $500,000 at auction. It's no surprise considering its racing pedigree and iconic design. The Charger Daytona was one of the Winged Warriors Club, along with the Plymouth Superbird, Ford Torino Talladega, and Mercury Cyclone Spoiler 2. But here's the kicker. NASCAR changed the rules after realizing these aero cars were just too dominant. That effectively banned them from competition, making the Daytona even more of a collector's item. Number 5. 2010 BMW M5 E60. Now this one's a bit of a curveball in Vin Diesel's collection. Known mostly for his love of American muscle, Vin's also got a taste for German engineering with his 2010 BMW M5 E60. It's powered by a naturally aspirated 5-liter V10 engine that cranks out a wild 500 horsepower. 500 horses in a 4-door sedan. It goes from 0 to 60 in just 4.7 seconds. Not bad for something you could drive to the grocery store. The E60 M5 was truly ahead of its time. It featured the S85 V10 engine, inspired by BMW's Formula 1 technology, which revs all the way up to 8,250 RPM. That's race car territory. The sound was pure music to any gearhead's ears, a high-pitched roar that screams power. But beyond speed, it's also got all the practicality of a 5 Series sedan, including a spacious trunk and enough room to comfortably fit 5 adults. It's the perfect blend of performance and luxury, a super sedan that can double as a family hauler. However, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows with the E60 M5. The engine had some reliability issues, most notably rod bearing failures, that could lead to some pretty expensive repair bills. But for those who could handle the maintenance, the driving experience was worth every penny. It's become quite rare these days, with many owners moving on to newer models, and with the high cost of maintenance, finding a well-preserved E60 M5 is no easy task. Given its iconic V10 engine, a rarity in today's turbocharged world, it's sure to become a future classic. Number 4. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle. The 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle turns heads even half a century later. If you're a muscle car enthusiast, you know exactly why this beast is a legend. The Chevelle was one of the hottest rides back in the 70s, and it's no surprise that Vin Diesel, a diehard Chevy lover, has one in his collection. Who wouldn't want to get behind the wheel of this American classic? This particular model came from the second generation of Chevelles, and featured the monstrous L72 7.4-liter big block V8 engine, pumping out a solid 360 horsepower. Back in the day, this car was crowned America's most popular mid-sized car, and it's easy to see why. With a revamped exterior design and that powerful V8 under the hood, the Chevelle was the king of the streets.
1. Go. Right turn.
Even today, the base V8 can pack a punch that puts modern cars on notice. But that's not all. It came with a manual transmission option that truly let the driver feel the road. A 4-speed manual might seem tame by today's standards, but back in 1970, it was a dream come true. It gave drivers the power to push the V8 to its limits, making every drive a heart-pounding experience. It could blast from 0 to 60 in just 6.1 seconds, and hit a top speed of 142 miles per hour. In an era when most cars struggled to get close, the Chevelle was in a league of its own. The real magic of this car lies in the torque. With 500 pound-feet, the Chevelle could smoke the tires without breaking a sweat. It was all about power, performance, and that unmistakable roar of the V8. Number 3. 1994 Toyota Supra Turbo. You remember it, don't you? That bright orange beast from the Fast and Furious movie, the one that Paul Walker raced in? Well, Vin Diesel's got his own version of this iconic JDM machine, and it's just as jaw-dropping. The 1994 Supra Turbo could sprint from 0 to 60 in just 4.6 seconds. That's lightning fast, even by today's standards. The secret? The legendary 2JZ GTE engine. This twin-turbo inline-6 was a masterpiece of engineering, delivering up to 326 horsepower depending on the market. In the US, the turbo model came paired with the 6-speed manual V160 transmission, letting drivers really feel that raw power. The interior was just as driver-focused, with everything angled towards the pilot, creating a cockpit feel. Let's not forget the 1995 turbo models that came with a removable targa top. Imagine flying down the highway with the wind in your hair and the roar of the twin turbo behind you. But what made the Supra truly legendary was its engine. The 2JZ is the stuff of legends, known for its durability and almost unlimited tuning potential. Whether naturally aspirated or twin turbocharged, this engine could handle just about anything you threw at it. That's why, even today, tuners worldwide are squeezing insane power out of these engines, some even hitting over 1,000 horsepower. Number 2. 1970 Dodge Charger Tantrum. The Tantrum is a custom-built masterpiece that's truly one of a kind. Gifted to Vin Diesel by the F9 cast and crew for his birthday, this car is a monster reimagined by the tuning wizards of Speedcore Performance. Guess what? It cranks out a jaw-dropping 1,650 horsepower from a 9-liter twin-turbocharged Mercury Marine engine. What makes the Tantrum even more insane is its carbon-bodied design. The exposed carbon fiber at the front gradually fades into a glossy black towards the rear, creating a mirror-like finish that's downright mesmerizing. The front end has been completely reworked with custom-built pieces that give it a smooth, lowered stance that's just begging for a second look. The grille is milled from a single block of aluminum. It houses 4 LED headlamps that give it a menacing stare. Around the back, the taillights are straight off a 2014 Dodge Challenger, tucked beneath a panel emblazoned with Tantrum. It's a slick nod to its roots, while staying firmly planted in the modern era. The wheels are HRE S104s, with 19 inches up front and 20 inches in the rear, wrapped in Michelin rubber that's wide enough to put a sports car to shame. Inside, it's just as wild. You've got panels made of carbon fiber, some exposed, some wrapped in leather and micro suede. The seats and dashboard are custom made, maintaining that vintage Charger vibe while adding a modern touch. There's even a roll cage integrated into the structure, which makes total sense once you realize this beast can probably smoke just about anything on the road. The 9-liter twin-turbocharged Mercury Racing V8 engine is so massive that the entire frame and floorboards had to be redesigned just to make room for it. With a Tremex 6-speed manual transmission paired with a Ford-sourced rear differential, this bad boy can turn those 345 series Michelins into vapor in no time flat. Number 1. 2014 Lykan Hypersport. Only 7 units of the 2014 Lykan Hypersport were ever made. One of them is parked in Vin Diesel's garage. This isn't just the rarest car in his collection, it's one of the rarest hypercars in the world. This $3.4 million beast is powered by a 3.7-liter twin-turbocharged flat-6 engine that cranks out 780 horsepower. It can reach a top speed of 245 miles per hour. We're talking about a car that can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.8 seconds. Insane, right? But it's not just about speed, it's about exclusivity. This car was built by W Motors, a Dubai-based manufacturer known for creating automotive works of art. This car was featured in Furious 7. Remember that scene where the car jumps between the Etihad Towers in Abu Dhabi? Yeah, that was this car. It wasn't just a stunt either. The filmmakers used 10 stunt cars for that scene. 9 were completely destroyed, and the last one survived with some bumps and bruises. That surviving stunt car was later auctioned off. But the one Vin owns? It's in pristine condition, like it just rolled off the showroom floor. The design of the Lykan Hypersport is nothing short of futuristic. It's got these wild reverse dihedral doors that look like something out of a sci-fi movie. The wheels are forged aluminum, with 19 inches in the front and 20 inches in the rear, fitted with Pirelli P0 tires. This thing looks fast, even when it's standing still. The interior is like stepping into a spaceship. There's carbon fiber everywhere. On the dashboard, the center console, you name it. It's sleek, high-tech, and undeniably luxurious. There are 3 displays for the infotainment system, including a massive 12.3-inch dashboard unit and a 10.4-inch central unit. Even the passenger gets their own 7.8-inch display to control certain functions. It's like first-class seating on 4 wheels. Those headlights are no ordinary lights either. They're embedded with 420 diamonds. Yeah, the headlights alone are worth more than most people's entire cars. It's the first supercar produced by an Emirates-based company, and it got its moment of glory in one of the most iconic scenes in the Fast and Furious franchise. Let's not forget the impact of that scene. It was one of the last to feature Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor before his tragic passing. Which of Vin Diesel's rare cars blew your mind the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're craving more exclusive peeks into celebrity garages and the world's most exotic vehicles, smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.